Hey, everybody. Welcome to the HootyHoo KSU podcast. So you can look behind me right there. Changed up the name a little bit. Here's the story. Originally, when I first started this, I thought I really was thinking about doing HootyHoo. Now, the reason why is not because it's a term used by Kennesaw State. That would have been smart. I grew up in Atlanta. I'm a huge fan of Outcasts, or was, and put out anything in quite some time. By the way, big boy Andre, the world needs another Outkast album. Just one more, please. Not being greedy. One of my favorite songs on Southern Playlistic Cadillac Funky Music is HootyHoo, and I remembered it from when I was in high school, and it was always one of my favorites. And it's caught on in Kennesaw State, so growing up in Atlanta, being in this area, I love that Kennesaw State picked it up, so we're going with it. It was originally my idea. I was going to go with that, but I wasn't sure if it would resonate. But then I was pulling out of work the other day, and I got behind this car. It looked like a high school kid, college kid they're driving, and it said, "Honk if you HootyHoo," and it had a KSU symbol underneath. I was like, well, there it is. I mean, that's what I should be doing. By the way, available at our Etsy store will be the Honk If You HootyHoo KSU bumper stickers, T-shirts, etc. coming your way very soon. So please check those things out. Anything that is purchased there goes directly into the podcast just to help with payment of the broadcasting fees and etc. on all these different platforms. Platforms, you say? Yes, platforms. So we are across the board with podcasting platforms as far as Apple, Spotify, Amazon. I mean, you name it, it is there. Additionally, as always, on X, on TikTok, and on YouTube, all the names have been changed to the HootyHoo KSU Football Podcast. So please check us out. Love to hear your comments and kind of get some feedback of what you think. Last week, I thought honestly was the best show that I had done. I just felt like it was timed out right. I thought the production value was much better than it has been. And I was really pleased with the content as well. I thought that there was good kind of spacing and bringing everything together from the larger picture of college football with the settlement we talked about last week. And also how that may impact Kennesaw State, what's it looking like going forward, etc. So I was really pleased with that. Two things I noticed in rewatching it, because I do rewatch them to make sure that it's quality. Would I be interested in even listening to this or watching this and spending 30 minutes of my day listening to this stuff? So I listened to it. Two things I noticed. One was I had a green undershirt so you could see through it in the background because of the green screen. So here's a pro tip. If you're doing a green screen, don't wear a green shirt. Smart. The second thing was I said that once we got into the season that I would do bi-weekly episodes. Well, by definition, bi-weekly means every other week. That's not what I meant. I just say twice a week. So the way that it would look like in season is going to be a reaction to a game. So after the game's over, come on, discuss what we saw, get our pros and cons from those contests. And then later in the week, prior to kickoff on the following week, preview the next opponent. So that will be the format as we get into the season. As we're still in the off season, it'll be once a week. I like to try to get these out on Sundays, just so you have them if you want to commute in to work on Monday, or when you commute to work on Monday, you have something to listen to for about 30 minutes or so. And the hard part right now, honestly, is with March Madness coming, the tournaments we're finishing up today, all the conference tournaments, the bracket will start on Thursday, I believe. So there's not a lot going on in college football right now. And so that definitely makes it more difficult to get on here and give quality content, because, again, I don't want to waste your time. It's the most valuable thing you've got. So if I'm going to get on here, there's going to be a purpose behind it. And I'll do my best to give you 30 minutes every single week of what's going on, but without having a larger picture of college football to discuss, then and we're focused just on KSU and we're just starting spring practice, there's not a lot going on. So I thought I would take today anyways and just talk about recruiting, offensive side of the ball specifically. We can look at defense next week, and just have a conversation of what we think this means kind of going forward. So with the wrapping up of the National Signing Day, which was the 5th of February, I think 13 players were brought in that day. But honestly, what used to be a huge day for college football fans is not the same anymore. National Recruiting Day, it's not the same as it used to be with early commitments, with the transfer portal. So instead of looking at it like that, we'll talk about some of the better players that were brought in on those days, but specifically 33 new players were brought in throughout both the recruiting and the transfer portal. So 33 players coming in. You've got, of course, other players heading out. Anytime you have a new coaching staff, I mean, if you're a new coach coming to a new program that's won 3 games in the last couple of years, what are you going to do? You're going to bring your guys in. You're going to bring guys in that will make you successful, obviously, because you would like to keep your job, or at least allow this job to be a platform to go to another level, a higher level, if that's your goal. But you need to bring in players that fit your scheme. So if Bohannon's players, their size, their speed, their talent, if you will, doesn't fit your scheme, then you wish them the best of luck and you bring in your own players. It is just the world we live in with college football. Before I take a deeper dive in recruiting, though, I need to point a few things out. I need to just say thank you. The support has been incredible. Blows my mind. Last week, I had 35,000 people view my podcast on X, another 5,000 on TikTok, several hundred downloads for the audio version. It's just unbelievable. I would have never expected such a reaction. I'm glad that when that many people checked out the program, that I thought it was my best version of the program, because if you've been here the whole time, this is definitely a process. And it's been a process from the first episode even to this episode. How much I've learned, how much I've tried to improve the product. So hopefully that is being shown. I am very thankful. Please like and subscribe to any platform that you view this on or listen to this on. If you want to give it 5 stars, please do. That helps as well. Anything helps, honestly. And I'm doing this from a point of view of enjoyment of the sport and interest in this team. But if I can get out there and be someone that people can rely on to discuss this program with, or college football in general, I'd love to do that. Make me very happy. Like I've said from the very beginning, I've been a lifelong fan. I brought up Coach Bohannon for a second. I want to go to a comment that I received last week with one of my videos, and the comment said that, graduated from KSU, graduated from Georgia Tech, obviously a pretty smart person, said that they really felt they did Coach Bo wrong, and he just doesn't see the support at Kennesaw State making it into anything. And again, thank you for your comment. You're entitled to your opinion, of course. What I responded was, as I addressed on the very first episode, I think, was that I thought that the firing of Coach Bohannon was handled very poorly. I don't think firing anybody's easy. It's never, no one ever has been fired and said, well, that went really well. That doesn't happen. But I thought it was handled poorly. I think that if you are Coach Bohannon and you built a program from scratch, I mean, you want to talk about being your baby. If ever something was your baby, if you're the one who built it from scratch, it's definitely your baby. So to be let go of it has got to be a shot. Got to be some hard feelings there, and who would blame anybody in that scenario? But again, it's a business at the end of the day, and you had to make a change. It wasn't going in the right direction. The team just wasn't performing. It just wasn't. And they haven't made a good enough transition into Division I. So I appreciate the comment of that person who reached out to me. I love getting feedback. But I do understand the reason why. Coach Bohannon is now at Georgia Tech again, so good on him. I hope he's able to be successful there as well underneath Coach Key's guidance. Another comment I got were more generic but very kind. Were just said, hey, nice show. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for doing this. One said, that's definitely an AI image with the background. And my response was, that's an accurate statement. Yes, it is. It's true. I didn't know if that was an insult or not. I didn't know. I'm not a graphic designer. So yeah, it is. It's AI generated for sure. I don't think I led on to it not being. So Like I said, maybe it was a compliment. I don't think it was, but I didn't understand if it was a negative comment. I didn't know why it was negative. So, anyways, thanks for sharing. Getting back to recruiting for just a second was what players are coming in. So I said let's focus on the offensive side of the ball. We talked about the offense last week, and we talked about the defense. So with the offensive side of the ball, again, with this spread attack, you're looking at mobile quarterback. You're looking at multiple running backs. You want to pay attention to the wide receivers and the tight end. The tight end is really key in this offense. It's someone that'll be open a lot because the wide receivers are moving all over the place. So are the running backs, but that tight end can either stay in there to block or they can go out and catch. They're usually going to be open down the seam. That's where big plays will take place with the tight end. So you need a big tight end. Kennesaw State has that. But I'm going to go through these positions of who is really standing out. Again, some additional film I watched this week about practice. It's the same thing that we said on the podcast. They're all about speed and power and just fundamentals. It's speed, speed, speed. Go fast, go fast, go fast. And with this offense, if you're coming to this offense from a different offense on the outside, conditioning is a major thing because you have to be in better shape than the defensive side of the ball if you're going to wear them out because you're going to be running, your goal is 80 plays a game at least. So you're trying to run as many plays as you can in a shorter period of time. Eat the clock up, go fast, go fast, go fast, score often. That's going to be the goal, so you got to be in good shape. But with this offense, normally the type of quarterback you have is not going to be your traditional drop back passer. You're going to see a lot of just quick shots. Okay, so keeping that in mind, that's what we're looking at currently. So first up is a quarterback coming in from Georgia Southern. The quarterback's name is going to be Dexter Williams II. So Dexter Williams started his career at Indiana, played there for 3 years, didn't start. Had some playing time, didn't start. Went to Georgia Southern, was also not the starter. Had a couple good showings, though, in some games for Georgia Southern. But it's tough to kind of rely on the type of offenses he's coming from. So Indiana, before Signetti got there, was not a great situation, honestly. And so that offense is a little bit different than what we're seeing at Kennesaw State. Georgia Southern's closer. Georgia Southern still is a run-based offense, honestly. This is as well. This is just a modern-day version of an option attack is what this is with some play action for passing. But it's a running-based offense. They're going to run, fast, fast, fast. That's what they're going to do. So because they're not lined up in like a power formation or an I or anything like that, doesn't mean it's not a run-based offense. Again, you've seen this offense enough now. You see at the high school level, that's where it originally started at, was teams trying to compete without having the same athletes or talent on their team, and they came up with a spread offense. That's what this is. So, like I said, back to Dexter Williams, he has the capability of throwing the ball, but he's not going to be the most accurate passer. Therefore, what do you want? Well, you want big. You want big receivers to make up for the possible inaccuracies of the passing. So you look at a tight end like Jackson Manning. Jackson Manning is 6'5". That'll work. 6'5" works. Also, one of the recruits they had brought in, and I mentioned his name in an earlier podcast as well, I'll bring him up again, is Jace Cora. He's from Naples, Florida. 6'4", 180. So big target to throw to. A lot of jump ball opportunities. Now, we'll see. We'll see how much he plays. Coming in as a freshman is difficult to do, but definitely has the ability and the size to get some playing time, especially if the wide receiver room isn't having a consistent job. And also one of the wide receivers, Gabriel Binyard, is in the transfer portal right now. He has not gone anywhere, and I've kind of researched that as best I can. I don't see any activity right now, so maybe he'll be back. But right now he's still underneath Kennesaw State. So if he stays, you have one of your better receivers from the last couple years who is very quick. He's elusive, 5'10", 185. He's fast. You can run the ball with him. You can throw the ball with him. More like a slot receiver, somewhat like that size, over the middle. Good player. Good player, and would love for him to stay. The other side, you have Christian Moss, 6'3", 190, size and speed, which is great. So he can go, catch the deep ball, big to catch the jump ball. So if Binyard stays, you've got two veteran receivers, terrific. If he goes, you most likely replace his slot with a bigger receiver, so you have 6'4" and 6'3" on either side. And then going down the middle, you have Jackson Manning, who's 6'5", 240. So, not only can you block, but you've got this big target running in the field that probably won't be covered all that often. That'll be open because the offense or the defense is concentrated so much on what movement's taking place in the backfield. That's the other thing with this type of offense is there's going to be a lot of movement happening pre-snap. So players moving all over the place. You'll give it to running backs. You'll give it to wide receivers to run the ball. Speaking of running the ball, you've got Alexander Diggs is 5'9", 185. More of a scat back a little bit. Well, not scat. A scat back would be even less weight than that, but definitely more agile, right? Speed, agility, shifty, can make people miss in the open field. Home run hitter for sure. Complementing him is Rob Brown, 6 foot 200, more of a powerhouse, north-south runner, short yardage, etc. Just kind of your battering ram if you need it. Something else, though, in taking a deeper dive into this, the recruiting and just the offensive side of the board, and what I notice experience. So the players that we just went through. So Christian Moss, wide receiver Christian Moss, he's a senior. So that's great. Behind him is Jackson Jordan, who is also a senior. Gabriel Binyard is a senior as well. So you have a great deal of experience on the outside with the wide receivers. Outstanding. You look at running backs, similar. So you've got two senior running backs, which is Coleman Bennett and Chase Belcher, as well as Diggs, who is a junior. So you're going to have probably 5 deep in the running back room. Several of those are seniors, which is great because all the seniors, the better. Jackson Manning is also a senior. So again, senior across the board. You look at the offensive line, transfer portal players that have come in for the offensive line. At right tackle is Jabarius Lee. The left tackle is Renee Miller. And your center is Cameron Williams. These are Williams is a senior. Your center, both your tackles are juniors. Your guard, right now, these are expectations for starters. J.T. Pittington is a senior. Your right guard, Saburn Hines, is also a redshirt senior. So you are well experienced across the board, and your quarterback, Dexter Williams II, is also a senior. This backup, who's also a transfer, is Amari Odom. He is a redshirt sophomore. So when you put all of these things together, you have size, you have speed, you have power, and you have a great deal of experience at this level. The thing that gets freshmen in trouble is the speed of the game. The same thing that gets rookies in trouble when they go to the NFL. The speed of the game, how big, how fast they are than the players they were going against in high school. So, to have that just really, again, reinforces that thought that I have that this season may be a season that is special because it is also new. And you have the right experience to make it a special season, to be able to handle situations when there's a minute left in the game and you're down by a field goal, or you need a field goal to win because you're tied, or you're down by 6, you need 7 to win the game, or you need a stop on defense. Experience helps a great deal and calms your freshmen, sophomores, juniors down. because they've been here before. The leaders are the seniors. So hopefully with this influx of talent coming in from different places throughout the country and bigger programs, that they're able to kind of give some advice to the younger players. I love that some of the talent is coming from Florida with some of the recruits. I love that. I like to see that because it's not easy to get players out of that state. I love that people are choosing to come to Kennesaw State from a Georgia Southern, from a West Georgia, from a Georgia State. I mean, these are the teams that you're competing against for recruits. You're not competing against Georgia. You're not competing against Georgia Tech. You are not at that level yet, and that's okay. There's plenty of players to go around. You know, you look into Alabama, etc. Plenty of talent in Alabama as well. So Florida, Georgia, Alabama, that is your base. That is where you're recruiting from. And if you have to take the leftovers in Florida from Florida State, Miami, and Florida, University of Florida, then so be it. Still going to be talented. Florida is full of football players. And like I said last week, the funny thing about it is high school players are not finding the same kind of opportunity anymore as they once did because of the transfer portal. And now with the rule change that junior college players can now have 4 additional years of eligibility after finishing 2 years at a junior college. That changes everything. So, you know, freshmen are looking to play. All players want to play, right? But you actually can say to these freshmen that are coming in, hey, listen, you may be waiting around on the bench for 3 years at the University of Florida, but you come to us and you can play next year. You can start playing next year. Make a name for yourself. Do something with it. Or stay here for your entire career because we're building something. And that's your sales pitch. You're talking about showcasing their talent. You're talking about speed. You're talking about an offense that is going to take advantage of big wide receivers and a tight end, and they're going to run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. So it's definitely going to be a place that's heavy on running backs. It's also going to be a place that's going to be heavy on linebackers. With a 3-4 defense, which I'm going to dive further in next week, but you've got 4 linebackers back there. You've got 3 down linemen, 4 linebackers, and one of those linebackers can become a lineman if you need it, right? But you're going to need that variety back there. So it's all there. I mean, it's all there, and I love what I'm seeing so far. They're practicing hard. I mean, that's the whole thing. All teams practice hard. And, you know, the spring game is 2 weeks away from today. And I'm excited to see. I mean, it's going to be rusty. It's not a lot of time to prepare. It'll look like a different team come fall when they open up against Wake Forest. But I really like the way that it's looking right now. You can't really tell a lot when you see your team going against each other when it's your offense versus your defense because they know what's coming. They know who to watch out for. They know what's coming. You can get an idea as far as ability and speed and athleticism, but you're not going to know until they're playing a different team. So we'll find out a lot. I'm going to say this, I think, for the next 4 months most likely, but I really like that Wake Forest game. For all the reasons as far as that they're going through and they have replaced their head coach and they're bringing a whole new team in as well with a whole new coaching staff. So if ever there was an opportunity to get a down program, that is a name. I mean, it is a name, not a huge name, but it's a name. According to Wake Forest, they're one of the more popular programs or fastest rising programs in the country. I'm not sure where they got that data, but let's go with it. Most people have heard of Wake Forest. So to be able to go and to beat Wake Forest and put that on your resume for your first game of the year, that's a great start with momentum. Going to Indiana, based on what we saw from Indiana last year, yeah, that's going to be a heck of a challenge. But at the same time, you don't have to win that game. Go ahead and be competitive. Make them earn it. You know, don't get blown out by 50 points. That's the goal when you're going into places like that. You're getting paid to travel there, which then helps your football program. And then if you make a name for yourself while you're there, all the better. Now you've got that much more attention because it's going to be on a larger broadcast. You know, back in the late 70s, when Bobby Bowden took over Florida State, which was a nothing program at the time, what he did was he said we would play you anywhere you want. We would go on the road and play anybody we want because he knew that he needed to get his name out there. So they traveled to Nebraska. They traveled to Oklahoma, Ohio State, Michigan, all those different places, and they started to make a name for themselves because maybe the first year they got destroyed, but that second year it was closer. That third year they were winning those games. They were going on the road to the most historic programs in the country, and they were beating those teams at Nebraska, at Michigan, at Ohio State, at USC, at LSU. They were beating those teams consistently to where those teams stopped scheduling them because they didn't want to take a loss. That's how you build a program. Now, is that 50 years in the past? Yeah, it is. I mean, it truly is, and I get that, and the sports change. But the idea is the same, is that if you want to build something, you've got to win. You've got to get some big wins. You've got to get wins that no one thought you would have. That Liberty game last year is a great example. It's a shame they couldn't kind of parlay that into additional wins afterwards, but that's kind of the momentum you're looking. And again, the goal is very simple. Give me one upset on the road, win your home games. You pull that off, you're going to a bowl game, and that's how you make a name for yourself, and that is a successful first season. Anything above that is gravy on top of it, because that's not supposed to happen. If you want to make your name and you want to build a program, win. That's it. Win. Show players what you can do with them. Show a freshman next year or a senior in high school who's going to be a freshman. Show them what you did with the freshman that came to your team last year. Show them what you're going to do with them. Put a package together. Say, this is how we're going to use you. You see this player here on the field? You see what he's doing? This is what you're going to do next year. This is your responsibility. That's how you get kids interested, and that's how you start to create a program, because that's the goal. 5 years. 5 years, put something together in the next 5 years. Let's support this team. Let's get out there and cheer for this team for sure, because it has the potential to really make a name for itself and to become something other than a smaller school in Kennesaw, Georgia, in the northwestern part of the state, where the university has grown enormously over the last 30 years. The same thing can be true with the football program. But if this is true, because Kennesaw State's name's out there right now, the basketball team played really well, lost a heartbreaker the other day. Baseball's been good for a while. Women's sports are pretty solid as well. It's all there, but football's going to pay for all those things in time. So be successful on the football field. You will improve the entire university, not only the structural integrity of the university, the buildings that are built, the infrastructure, but also it'll be a destination. The more people who know the name, the more people who want to attend there. So that goes not only for athletes to play in your football team or any other sports team, but that also just goes to your regular students who are interested in going to the school they never thought about. Who'd ever heard of, well, that's a terrible example. I was going to say Florida State, but in all seriousness, if you live in Kansas and, you don't know anything about Florida State, Kansas State, University of Kansas, but every single week this Florida State team's on the television, right? And all of a sudden it kind of gets your attention, like, well, what's that place all about? And it may be a place that you may want to go to one day. Well, that's the same thing with this. Get out there, make your name, make people know who you are. Hopefully that increases the amount of people who are interested in your school, who want to go to school there, who want to play for your school. So this is a very exciting beginning for sure. So that's about it, guys. That's about my 30 minutes in. Again, I can't be more appreciative of the support. I mean, to see that number on Twitter or X last week with 35,000 people, that is wild. I mean, it's wild that many people took that kind of time. 5,000 people on TikTok took that kind of time to just check out some random dude talking about Kennesaw State and college football. That it blows my mind. So I'm very humbled and very appreciative. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Hope you get this for your commute tomorrow morning on a Monday, and we'll see you next week. All right, take care. Bye-bye.